Hi everybody, welcome to the session. Before I get started, I would like just to go through the house rules here. So a little bit of practical information. You have the GoToWebinar functionalities out there in your toolbar. You will not be able to unmute your microphone for this session. You are able to ask questions in the chat, so please put any questions that you might have into the chat pane. There will be a minimum of 5 minutes break between sessions. The conference is recorded and distributed. So if you have any other questions that are not regarding the session here and specifically, you can go to the hub to get an example technical help if you have other requests. All questions from either the chat pane or the hub will be registered and we will follow up on those. So once again, welcome everybody to this session about what working at home means for corporate learning. So before I get started here, I would also like to say that I'm not gonna be giving you all the answers on how to change specifically your corporate learning strategy, but I will shed some light on this area. So first of all, my agenda for today, I'm gonna be introducing myself with the first part. Then I'm gonna be talking about a little bit about the new demand or whatever it is. And then I will be also looking into how to supporting working from home and a little bit also about user adoption, as this also is pretty important even though we are working from home. At the end, I will be having the session open for questions. So first of all, introduction of myself. I am I've been essentially, I've been working with training the last 27 years in different companies. I've been working 11 years within different companies and implementation projects and so on within IT. And since September 2016, I've been with ClickEarn and focusing on mainly on learning and onboarding of ClickEarn customers, doing demos and going to conferences and so on. So the new demand. At this time of uncertainty where the whole world has been paralyzed, so to speak, we need to adapt to the new situation. We can't meet face to face, but we still need to be able to go and do our work. The demand for training to be available, fast to create and easy to deploy has become more relevant than ever because super users are not available for face-to-face dialogue anymore. The IT departments are focusing on tasks relating to deploying home offices and protecting against security breaches, maybe. The managers are asked questions about processes inside our business applications traditionally posed to the most knowledgeable users. So instead of having the direct access to the usual suspects, as we might call them, you can leverage from having ClickEarn that can deliver all the help and guidance needed through all the different learning formats that ClickEarn is available to provide. So while the super users, IT departments have other tasks to focus on, the ClickEarn content will be able to support their needs. This crisis might dictate a new behavior, as I started with, in our business applications, and new systems are being launched either to accommodate the crisis or as an integral part of keeping the business running. You might be asking yourself why the question mark up there in my title, and that's because this is not a new demand. This has been there all the time, and the demand is increasing and increasing. So if we just look into a quote I took here from Josh Bersin, today more than half Americans are working at home, and studies show that as many as 40 million people will make work at home a regular part of their job in the future. So the increasing numbers of employees working from home is ongoing, and will change the corporate learning strategy. And we need to be able to, in example, self-service in terms of gaining knowledge about IT. So certainly it's clear when we're thinking about big implementations of ERP systems across an entire business or business units, but also relevant thinking of smaller collaborations tools, in example, or for example, Microsoft Teams. So if a company chooses to implement a new collaboration tool, it's of course very important that the end users are able to adopt the new technology. Their need to know how to benefit from the new tool uh, is very high. If not, most likely that tool will not be used, or maybe even worse, it will maybe mean that it's being used wrongly. And even though it might seem simple to use, so a tool like Teams, there's still need for learning. There's still need for a learning portal that's able to provide the guidance and the learning needed to adopt. So right now, working from home has affected us all, but set aside this current crisis, we can see that more and more employees are working from home. Basically, it's here to stay and it's becoming more and more popular. And this also means that the need for self-paced training, on-demand training, is something that we need to support. So supporting working from home is many different things. As the need for working from home is increased, we also need to adapt to the solution and think about how we best support it. There are basic practical details as setting up a home office, making sure that it's good, there's a good internet connection, and so on. Also, employees working from home need to learn to structure their day, not to be distracted by stuff that's not work related, and but also making sure that they take the time to a break once in a while, get lunch, and all the usual things that they actually do at the office. So this leads me to the next point here, staying connected with your colleagues, working together, chatting, all the small talk jokes, and they are also important for us as social beings. So once in a while, you maybe should call up your colleagues just for a break or disconnect for a short while. My personal experience here during this corona crisis is that I've really been enjoying seeing my colleagues on the screen. So it really makes a big difference for me to see them on screen. I know there's a lot of guidance out there on the internet on how to stay connected, how to have your workday structured, and so on, so you can easily find stuff about this. And of course, also the need for learning a new collaboration tools like Teams and adopting to new IT systems or new business processes, that's still there. That's not going to disappear just because we're working from home. So another example could be remote onboarding, where we need to get new employees closer to the organization and get them up and running as quick as possible. Also here, you can leverage from having ClickEarn deliver the learning content in multiple formats, and maybe they don't need to, they don't have the time to learn everything, and they simply just choose to have the ClickEarn Assist guide them through the work processes. They have everything right there at their hand. So creating a learning portal with ClickEarn Studio will really give all your users all that they need. So a Gartner Group study said that 75% of collaboration tools, collaborative solutions fail due to lack of user adoption and buy-in. So the demand for effective user adoption is still relevant. Even though a lot of people are working from home, this does not change the need for learning and adopting. So right now, the number one problem, as I see it with user adoption, is the speed and the creation of relevant training collateral. And the corporate learning strategy most possibly needs to be to change from doing classroom training and being instructed by a super user or colleague into delivering self-paced training, enabling the users to get trained at any time, any place, any pace that they have the time to be trained. And the speed of getting the learning content out there to the end users is absolutely vital. So at ClickLearn, we believe in three principles of highly effective user adoption: quality, availability, and relevance. So the quality is all about keeping the instructions and learning content easy and intuitive to understand, covering all the scenarios needed, and work roles, and obtaining the consistency to keep the user experience at the same between different types of instructions. If we look at the availability, it's ensuring that the instructions and learning content is available to the end users at any given time, dosed in the right amounts, but also that the users can pick up and choose the pace and the level which they want to be receiving the training. Having it all available in a well-structured learning portal where the end users easily can find the instruction that they need at any given time is also very important if you want to achieve high user adoption rates. So what is relevant in the context of user adoption? This is making sure that the content is grouped and targeted to specific audiences, relevant to the current state of the operational procedures, and that it covers all the operating procedures. So this might seem to be a very big task, and in many cases, this will be a task that is set aside merely for that reason. It's all about speed and simplicity, having the tool that is easy to use and getting the job done fast and as fast and painless as possible. So, dear participants, dear customers, you have it all right there at your hands. The most of you already are enjoying the benefits of having ClickLearn Studio. So that was the end of my presentation. So now going on to the questions for this session. Anybody out there have any questions? Please write them into the questions pane if you have any. And of course, I'll just give you a couple of minutes to be thinking about this. And also, if you suddenly, the questions pop into your mind a little bit later on today, then of course, just write us, maybe go to our community and go into dialogue with us, or maybe with any of the other customers that we have in here. So feel free to sign up to our community as well. You can also, of course, write your questions into the hub if you have any. But of course, you still have some time in here before we need to go on to the next session. So Alina, do we see any questions coming into the question here? The questions pane?
No questions so far.
No? Okay. Okay, so if no questions here for the session, you will have 5 minutes extra to grab a cup of coffee or whatever you need to be doing. But I would like to thank you all for attending the session. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to going into communicating with you in the community, and of course seeing you all to other sessions that we will be having. So thank you all for attending. Have a great day and have a great evening.